Ugh. Okay. Hey everyone, what's up? So my name is Rachel, and today I'm here to share with you things that I find interesting, surprising, remarkable about life in Russia. So I'm here in St. Petersburg, Russia. I've been living here for 2 months now, right in the center of the city. I'm here for a semester abroad for college, and I love it here. I'm having an incredible time. And I think that 2 months is a good amount of time to have been here before making this video because I kind of have a good sense of what life is like. I've seen a lot of different aspects of life here. But at the same time, I haven't been here long enough that everything is completely normalized. So I still get surprised, and I still am sort of remarking on the things that I find different here every day. So, number one. This was something that I noticed right from driving into the city from the airport. Remnants of the Soviet Union, and a kind of really interesting mix of old and new. There's a lot of visual evidence of Russia's history. Right along one of the big avenues on the way into the city, there's this giant building, Soviet style, large, imposing, and a big statue of Lenin in front of it. And then you keep going a little further and you get a big Soviet-style World War II memorial. And then right after that, you get a big gate leading into the city, which is a remnant from imperial times. And then as you drive into the city, you see the kind of Soviet-style block apartments. And then you go further and further, and you get more into the roots of the city right in the center, which are essentially the exact same as they were when the city was founded in 1703. So there's a lot of history evident wherever you go. Number two is something that I also noticed right from my first days in the city, something that's very evident on the streets, and that is a very strong military presence. And I've talked to my host about this. I'm living with a host here, and she told me that it's because there are a lot of sort of army academies in the city, military academies, so, especially right near where I live. So there will be the younger trainees. But it's just very interesting to me. I'm not accustomed to seeing big squadrons of guys in their military uniforms just walking through the streets. And I see that on a daily basis here. So, and it's not all one type either. It's not just like one academy. There are several different uniforms that I've just gotten used to seeing on the street. That's not really something that you see outside of kind of areas where we have big naval or military academies in the U.S. Number three. So, you know the stereotype with like Russian nesting dolls and like babushkas, I guess you say in the U.S. It's all over our images of like historical Russian women with the headscarf, right? 1 second. Ow. You know how you see the stereotypical Russian woman with her head wrapped up like this? Something like that, right? That is still a big thing here, especially with the older women, so they'll always have something covering their head, it seems, but also with younger women, like my age, and that was a surprise at first. But then one day, I was visiting a lot of Orthodox churches with my program, and it's part of the religion that you're supposed to cover your head as a woman. So I did that. It was a cold, windy day, as per usual here, and I realized it's an incredibly useful, like practical thing to wear because it blocks the wind from getting in your ears, and it sort of protects your hair from flying everywhere. And it just keeps you a lot warmer than you would expect it to. So I've started on the really cold days, I've just started wearing my scarves wrapped around my head, and it's very practical. I'll put in a picture from my Instagram of the first time I wore the headscarf at a church, and wow, it changed my life. Number four. Something that struck me was that this city, St. Petersburg, is extremely young and attractive and fashionable. So it seems like the majority of the people that you encounter on the streets are sort of under age 30, that or they're like old grandmas. They're oftentimes very, very well dressed, and they're oftentimes in couples. It's just kind of like, sometimes I feel a little odd walking alone as a woman because it seems like all of the women are paired up with men. And then the women also are usually dressed like very kind of stereotypically feminine, so pretty high heels are the norm here, and hair and makeup really done nicely. Ugh. Okay, point 5, the beeping on the street. The city is so noisy. Granted, I live on a large avenue, so it's something that I'm especially aware of because these drivers are right outside my window. Noticed is like below. There's a couple different words for it in Russian, but I really like, you can say bibikets, like beep beep, like that's a verb. Driving here in general seems very stressful to me because there are a lot of crosswalks, a lot of stoplights, but what people will do is there doesn't seem to be speed limits other than like when you have to stop. So people will just speed until they hit a red light and they'll just zoom down the streets, and then they hit a red light and they slam on the brakes. Point number 6. So this is kind of a fun one. The escalators here are insane, and specifically, not just in general, specifically the escalators going down to the metro station. You can stand on an escalator for 8 to 10 minutes, so like you got to count that into your time for getting to the metro. And it's because the city is built kind of in a weird geographical place, geological place, so all of the metro stations are very deep below the city. Actually, the very deepest metro station in the world is here, and it's insane just standing on those escalators. It's actually very surreal, like you kind of lose your sense of reality. You're just kind of standing there with this mass of other people. So yeah, very interesting experience, very inconvenient if you're running late. Number 7. Another inconvenience. There is a distinct lack of trash cans on the street. If you like bring a fruit with you, say you have an apple and you need to throw away the apple core, like tough, you're gonna have to walk for like 10-20 minutes with your apple core in a lot of cases before we find a trash can. Number 8. And then kind of on a similar note, recycling isn't really a thing here. I guess it used to be at one point during the Soviet era, but it's just not a thing at all. So I'm kind of just trying to cut down on my plastic as much as possible here. Number 9, there is a surprising lack of English here. There's a large portion of the population that just doesn't speak any English. Gotta say, this was a different situation in Moscow. So in Moscow, I was hearing a lot more English on the streets around me, and since it's more of an international sort of business political center, you can very much expect that English is more the norm there. Number 10, beware of dill. And I'm talking about the food, like the herb, right? Russians put dill anywhere and everywhere. I'll put in a picture right here of what one of my friends here ordered. I don't even know what it was, but they put in a heinous amount of dill. You know, like it looks like someone took this little container of food, stuck it under the Christmas tree for a week, and let all of the pine needles fall in there right after Christmas. You know what I mean? It's absurd. So, like, beware. So thank you so much for watching. It would mean the world to me if you would subscribe and like this video. I'm going to keep on making videos about living abroad as a young person, videos about Russia, about my travels. I would really appreciate it if you would check out my social links in the description, and I will see you next time. Bye. Babushki, babushkas, babushki, babushkas, babushki, babushki, babushkas.